Hey everyone, hope you're doing all right. Today I will be reading Chapter 5 of The Soldier's Widow, the second story from my crime anthology, Lifestar Corners. So, let's begin, shall we? Chapter 5. Janine wasn't a drinker, but the glass of wine helped calm her rattled nerves as she sipped from the glass. It was the first time she felt some sort of relief since killing the man who broke into her house. She and Simone just came back from dinner. At the restaurant, Janine barely touched her plate, so they got a doggy bag to go. On the way back, Simone bought them some wine because she knew her mother would never drink anything harder. Now they were both on their second glass and feeling the effects. Both of them were the lightweights of the family. "All I'm saying, Mother, is that I would have done the same fucking thing," Simone slurred. "No." Janine shook her head from side to side every time she repeated the word. "No, no, no, no. You would not have done the same. You know why? Because you're too damn nice." "But I wouldn't be a victim. I'm just saying that I wouldn't put up with the way that waiter was acting if that had been me is all." "Maybe Robert, maybe Sam, but you've always been the soft one." Simone flung her hand in front of her as if she was swatting a fly. "Oh, go to hell." Janine looked at her daughter and realized she'd almost forgotten about what had just happened in her house a few hours ago. Of all her children, Simone was the best at brightening up her mood. She was so touched that her irritation subsided and was replaced with a warmth for her middle child, and Janine hugged her. "I love you so much," she cried tearfully. "Oh, Mama." Simone rolled her eyes, but she returned the embrace. "This is why you shouldn't drink." "I think committing murder calls for a little liquid relaxer." "Self-defense, Mama, self-defense. But what you need now is some sleep." Simone guided her half-drunk mother to her bedroom and helped dress her in one of her nightgowns. She tucked Janine into bed and kissed her on the cheek. Janine was asleep within seconds. Simone turned off the light and gave her husband a call to come pick her up. If she was honest with herself, it was a miracle they'd gotten back home safely because she was still feeling tipsy and didn't want to risk driving across the city. Lauren said he would be there in an hour, which gave Simone time to sober up a little and get to thinking. She couldn't shake her suspicions about Sam. How could him calling their mother and threatening her right before she almost gets robbed be a coincidence? She didn't want to discuss it with Janine, but maybe her little brother had finally gone off the deep end. However, she felt guilty for suspecting Sam. Sure, he'd been a prick and a lowlife for a while, but he'd been so sweet before the drugs took over his mind and soul. He'd pulled some seedy crap in his time, but she doubted whether he'd be capable of setting up their mother to get robbed. She went to the kitchen to make herself some coffee to help sober her up further so she wouldn't look like a lush in front of her husband. The caffeine did its part, and by the time Lawrence arrived at the house, she was back to her normal self. Her phone pinged, and she saw that it was a text from him, letting her know that he was out front. Lawrence sat in the driver's seat, straightening out his tailor-made suit and checking himself out in the mirror. He'd had a rather stressful day and could have sworn he was seeing a few more gray hairs in his chestnut brown hair with a feathery executive cut. He hated when his wife saw him in any state less than his super husband facade that he put on every day no matter what the day threw at him. His face brightened up when he saw his bride of 15 years cautiously make her way through the ice and snow on the porch and driveway to the passenger side of the Lincoln Town Car. "Hey, babe," she greeted him, followed by a kiss when she got in. "Thank you for picking me up." "You know you can always make it up to me tonight," he said as he seductively traced his finger down her back. She lightly drew his finger away, spurning his advances. "I'm sorry, baby. I've just got a lot on my mind." "What happened?" The tears started to come down. "Someone tried to rob my mother." Lawrence was taken aback. His hands started to shake. "What? Is she okay?" Simone shook her head. "I don't know. I think she's doing better than she was earlier. She killed the man who was breaking in. Lawrence, he had a gun on him." It was as if the reality of the situation was returning to hit Simone full blast once again. She started to hyperventilate. Lawrence had no choice but to get a hold of himself for her sake. He took a breath of his own and held her tightly. "Calm down," he urged gently as he kissed her cheeks. "Janine is okay, and that's all that matters." "She just killed someone, Lawrence. How could she possibly be okay? I mean, yeah, the man did break into her house and might have hurt her, but that doesn't mean she wanted to kill anybody." "Where is she now?" "Asleep. I took her out from drinks so she could calm down. I didn't tell you until now because I had to give her all my attention. You know her heart is sensitive. But she's alive, Simone. That's a start. So we take it a day at a time until we can put it behind us." "Easy for you to say," Simone huffed, and she caught Lawrence's glare. "I'm sorry, baby. There's one thing I haven't told you. Apparently, Sam threatened her today before that man broke in. He said something along the line of her regretting not helping him. Now, all of a sudden, this happens." And you think Sam might have had something to do with this? I don't know. I really don't want to think he would. Lawrence started backing out of the driveway. Well, he's always been up to no good. I wouldn't be surprised if you ask me. Simone narrowed her eyes. You've never liked him. Of course you would jump to that conclusion. Right. Lawrence put the car in drive and proceeded down the road. And if I find out he was involved, I'll fucking kill that little prick. Lawrence! I'm not sorry, Simone. You know I love your mother as if she were my own, and Sam has always been a leech. I've tolerated him all these years, but this time he went too far. Simone looked at Lawrence thoughtfully. He'd always been fond of Janine, and his angry passion was touching. She grabbed his hand in hers, which they held until they got home. Samuel Stone stood in the courtroom, waiting for the judge to decide on whether the prosecution had enough evidence against him to go forward with the indictment. Surprise, surprise, they did. His green eyes darkened with outrage, but he couldn't show it. All he wanted to do was run out of the courtroom, but he had a feeling that the bailiffs, all three of them, having at least 5 inches and 50 pounds more than his 5 foot 6 inch height and 140 pounds, wouldn't let him escape so easily. All he could do was shake his head at his own misfortune. What had he done to deserve such bad luck? Sure, he'd made mistakes, but there was no way he had this coming. 10 years for robbing a Starbucks? And it wasn't even him that did it. All he did was sit in the car. How was he supposed to know his friend would go in and rob the place? The asshole was only supposed to go in and get them coffee, and instead he runs out with $37 from the fucking cash register. Even Sam, when he was thieving to get by, knew that snatching cash was a dead end in the evolution of stealing. People used card or cash app. They got picked up 10 minutes later. It had been a long time since Sam had a gun pointed at him, and he realized it was a memory you don't miss. And to top it all off, his own mother pretty much told him to go fuck himself. He was so enraged when he got off the jailhouse phone he couldn't see straight. But once he calmed himself down and was honest with himself, he began to remember all the shit he pulled on her. The lying, the temper tantrums, stealing things right out of her house. He'd been a real shit. But he'd also been serious this time about getting his life straight, and now he was looking at the next decade behind bars. When Sam left the courthouse after using his savings to pay his own bail, he trudged through the parking lot to the car where his friend Lee was waiting for him. He'd known Lee and his inseparable friend Brandon for many years, and they were usually reliable in a pinch, so he always kept them in mind whenever he needed help. We gotta talk, Lee said as Sam reached the car. About what? Sam asked on guard, because he knew when Lee's mood was immediately on business, so he'd have to put his own pity party on hold. About the money. This concludes the reading of Chapter 5. If you're interested in picking up a copy, they are available on Amazon for paperback, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited. You can also hit me up on my website, jamesmichaelsbooks.com. My personal email is on there if you would like a signed copy for yourself. Lastly, please sign up for my email subscription at jamesmichaelsbooks.com to get updates on upcoming books, book deals, content, events, things of that nature.